In 218 before Christ, Carthage stood among the greatest maritime powers on earth. Its wealth, trade, and mighty fleet made it a dominant force across the Mediterranean. Yet behind its magnificent walls, one man was preparing a plan so daring that few believed it could ever succeed. A plan that would echo through history for more than 2,000 years. Hannibal was not the commander with the largest army, nor the greatest resources. What set him apart was the way he thought. While others searched for the easiest path, he searched for the one no one expected. Inside that quiet command tent, an idea was taking shape, one that would forever change the history of warfare. The Alps formed a vast natural barrier between northern Italy and the rest of Europe. Their rugged terrain and unforgiving climate made the passage of a large army extraordinarily difficult. Most commanders saw these mountains not as a route to victory, but as the end of any military campaign. Hannibal, however, looked at them differently. Silence filled the command pavilion. The officers were not waiting for Hannibal's words. They were waiting for the path he would choose. When his hand moved toward the Alps, many saw not a strategy, but an impossibility. History, however, has often remembered the plans that first appeared impossible. This journey demanded far more than courage. It required extraordinary preparation and discipline. Thousands of soldiers, hundreds of horses, war elephants, and supply wagons had to move as a single, coordinated force toward a route no army of this size had ever attempted. Every step would have to be carefully planned because in those mountains, even the smallest mistake could threaten the entire expedition.
Victory.
Before the march had even begun, everyone understood that nothing would ever be the same again. With the army's first steps into the Alps, everything changed. The open plains disappeared, replaced by narrow passes, towering cliffs, and air that grew colder with every step. Nature was no longer simply the landscape. It had become the expedition's greatest challenge. Yet the army continued forward in silence, driven by a commander who believed the hardest road might also be the most decisive. The deeper the army advanced into the Alps, the more uncertain the route became. Maps could not reveal every challenge, and the landscape changed with every valley and every ridge. Scouts and engineers became essential, carefully selecting the safest paths whenever possible. In such unforgiving terrain, sound judgment mattered just as much as courage. Reaching the summit was no longer the only challenge. Keeping the entire expedition together had become equally important. Engineers and scouts carefully evaluated every step, while the marching columns maintained remarkable discipline. At these heights, leadership demanded patience as much as courage. Success would belong not to the fastest, but to those who endured. After days of climbing through the Alpine passes, the vast plains beyond the mountains finally came into view. It was not the end of the journey, but it proved that determination and careful planning could overcome what once seemed impossible. Italy now lay before them, the destination they had pursued since the beginning of the expedition. Yet the descent would prove just as demanding as the climb, and the journey was far from over. After crossing the Alps, the army no longer looked back at the towering peaks behind them, but toward the open plains ahead. A journey that many believed impossible had succeeded, opening the way into northern Italy. The achievement was not only the crossing itself, but the element of surprise created by such an unexpected route. From that moment forward, the campaign entered a new chapter that would leave a lasting mark on ancient history.